Karen Bell. I'm the president of the Centerville Neighborhood Association. Thank you for coming out. Good evening, everyone. While Jonathan is getting this set up, my name is Nikita Batson. I am with GDOT with the Office of Program Delivery. I am the project manager for the project GDOT PI 0017926, which is located on not only Hollowell Parkway from State Route 280 to Stiff Street. Jonathan, also Stephen and Jeremy Busby are part of our project team, and we are just here to provide some information about this traffic calming project. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jonathan.
She's gonna call me JC. That's what most folks refer to me as. So happy to be here tonight. Again, we just got a quick presentation, kind of wanted to go over, kind of give some information, and then we'll see if there's any questions. Just a little project background. The project corridor is located on Hollowell Parkway. Project limits from approximately James Jackson Parkway, H.E. Homes, traveling to the east to approximately Stiff Street. Better reference is right there approximately at the MARTA Bankhead Station. Project length 3.9 miles. What we are looking to do, and we'll go into a little bit more detail here in a second, is basically do a traffic calming project to take the existing 4 lanes that are out there now and convert those to 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction with a center turn lane. I'll show you a graphic here in a minute on that. Why are we doing it? Simply, there's just a need for safety improvements. If you look at between 2013 and 2021, there were 1,900 crashes out there. So some type of vehicular incident occurred. Out of those 1,900, about a third of those were categorized as severe enough to constitute an injury. So somebody got hurt. Along with vehicular crashes, there were 53 pedestrian-related crashes out there. It's a heavily traveled pedestrian corridor. And then you had 11 cyclist-related crashes. The latest number I have, that during that period, there's been 7 fatalities. I know I think there was another one a couple of months ago. So that number just keeps on going up. So basically the goal of our project is basically to reduce vehicle speeds out there. Okay, go ahead, do this again. Thank you. So like I mentioned, this is pretty typical of that 3-mile corridor. You've got 2 10 to 11 foot lanes, pretty narrow lanes, 2 in each direction, just separated by the roadway stripes. So there's no left-hand turns or anything like that out there that separates the traffic. What we're proposing to do is take those 4 lanes, put 1 lane in each direction, separated by a center left turn lane. So when you get into it in both directionals, they can do it at the entrances. Medians will be used at certain locations. How many medians are we proposing, Steve?
There's about 4.
There's about 4. Mainly.
Medians. There's where the existing pedestrian crossings are now in the middle of the road. There'll be basically a median put there, a short median. Then by Hollywood, there'll be some medians there, and then immediately to the east of that, there's another location.
So strategic medians out there to provide some pedestrian refuges. So if somebody has a little bit harder time getting across the road at that crosswalk, they'll have a refuge until they get to the other side. It just provides a safer crossing and added protection for those that are trying to cross the streets. We are not proposing any construction activities outside the existing curb line at this time. There's existing sidewalks out there. We're not touching those. The main reason for that is this project is a collaboration between the Georgia Department of Transportation and the City of Atlanta, and they wanted to get it out there under construction fairly quick. So when you start getting outside the curb line, you start talking about utilities, right-of-way, all those kind of things that take time. So this was the best way that we could get this project implemented and provide that safest corridor in the fastest time. Just a point with that last bullet, GDOT and the City of Atlanta are still collaborating. There could be future projects along this corridor to improve for example, improve sidewalks, additional pedestrian upgrades, all that kind of stuff. So this project could be looked at as kind of the first stroke of the brush along this corridor for improvements. There's nothing programmed yet, but I mean, you may hear your local officials and others talk about other projects. So they're separate projects, but just understand that this is kind of that first cut. Project schedule. So pretty fast track project from our standpoint. We really started last year. The project is programmed for March 23 let, so that's when it will go out to a contractor. Typically, once it's awarded to a contracting team, you probably looking at 2-3 months for mobilization. So I would suspect that you would see construction activity start sometime in the summer. We've projected a 12-month construction duration. All we're really doing is taking the existing roadway, milling and inlay it. So taking up the old pavement, repave it, stripe it. So it's not the most intense construction, but we anticipate it'll take about 12 months before it's open.
But you're taking away 2 lanes, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're taking it from a 4-lane Georgia State Highway down to a 2-lane Georgia State Highway and one that's already congested and is major traffic backups.
For traffic calming measures, you're correct.
So how are we gonna mitigate the current traffic problems?
So that may happen as we are doing some additional studies and additional phases. Right now, our main concern is safety. And considering the number of fatalities that we've had, we have to figure something out or do some improvements. And what that will look like is to help improve pedestrian safety. And so considering that, we want pedestrians to be able to cross the road safely, have, some type of safe haven as they're traveling on this roadway. And so as this is the implementation of phase 1, and we're looking to do some improvements, hopefully down the line.
So that is a concern that we've heard, but for the safety purposes and the traffic calming, we feel like this is the best solution at this time. I mean, keep in mind, like right now when you come through the corridor, you get a lot of people stopped in that left lane, with people back up behind that. And so with the center turn lane, hopefully you'll get some freer movement. But as Nikita said, the department is continuing to collaborate with the City of Atlanta on this corridor. It is a state route, it is a US route, but it is a very localized roadway too. And they'll continue to evaluate and see what's needed along the corridor and those future program projects, that could be something related to that. Yes, sir.
You mentioned 11, 12-foot lanes now. What do they turn into when you do the one lane on each side? Roughly?
So currently, I think they average about 10 foot.
They're
Okay.
10 foot more. They more toward the 10 foot side.
10 or 11s, and they'll be 12.
12, okay.
Yeah.
A little better are we letting trucks still go through there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not going to be any prohibition of existing roadways. So you'll have a little bit wider. And again, if you look at it now, the existing width curb line to curb line was just a little over 40 foot. So
It's tight areas for sure.
it's tight areas.
I drive
So
through regularly, so.
that allows us to put in the 3 lanes that are the median is like 14.
We're leaving some little bit extra.
Yeah. So we're able to get it in and keep it so.
Cool.
I have a few questions. One, do you guys have an illustration or a visual of what the medians look like? My next question is, and maybe this is more of a statement, so now we should expect Hollowell to really be congested once this happens. That should be the expectation.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
There was a traffic evaluation, and again, that recommendation, did note that, the road diet, traffic calming, project, would work for this area. There's other areas around the metro where this has been implemented, and they haven't seen the congestion that you would expect.
Okay, that was my other question about examples that you can give us of other areas where something similar was done.
So, Memorial Drive, that was an example of where it was done. And just to expand in terms of your question, we're looking to balance the operation and safety in the area. And, you know, how the road operates right now may look different in the future in terms of, because we are doing the road diet. But again, safety being the primary concern and also reducing vehicle speed is also a concern. And we believe that these safety measures will help to assist with that.
Okay, next question, will there be any pedestrian lights if pedestrian safety is one of the main concerns? Are we adding a pedestrian light? I know we're gonna have a median where pedestrians are trying to walk across the street, but is there going to be a light?
When you say light, are you saying like a button for them to push?
Right.
So there's certain locations that we are improving those, and then, we are adding additional ones, and I think, Stephen can.
'Cause right now we have one, right? We have one next to the senior center.
So there, yeah, but there is the two existing crosswalks, yeah, that would be a pedestrian, you know, a button when you get there, to basically alert the motorist that there's a pedestrian there. And then on the, rapid response project, there's two more or three more locations?
Two additional locations.
Two additional locations will be flipped where there isn't one now.
Okay, last question, is the state going to decrease the speed limit requirement?
It's gonna be 35 miles an hour.
And now it's, right now it's,
35.
Yeah, so right now, that,
right,
so again, it's changing the operation and the geometric essentially of how people are traveling down the roadway is a measure that we're looking at in terms of helping to reduce the speed, for vehicles, in terms of what we're doing. So that, we've, in other areas or other projects, we've talked about reducing speed, and we've noticed, or the district is one that, or, local officials would have to be the ones to reduce the speed. But it's also, a short-term improvement, and so, measures like this are more long-term, improvements for speed reduction.
okay.
And so just that's a good segue to the final slide here. The project is first of several that GDOT and the city of Atlanta anticipate, not only along this particular stretch of DL Hollowell, but, you know, DL Hollowell continually out past I-285. So I think one thing the department and the city of Atlanta would always like to stress is if you guys have recommendations, if you guys see stuff, contact your local officials, and, you know, that does go a long way for projects like this. Let them know what you think, what you need, and at least offer that up for their consideration.
Quick question, I'm sorry, so this is from James Jackson Parkway to MARTA? And what
Yes.
about from MARTA to North?
Not, that is outside of this project's limits.
Is there a project for that?
Not that not as far as the reduction of travel lanes.
Okay,
I think, I do know that, I think as part of the, I think there was a part of the T-SPLOS vote, there was some sidewalks, I'm not sure about the certain parameters of those that the city of Atlanta, may implement, but, I do know that there's multiple kind of future projects in the works that could, you know, be on there. And that kind of gets to GDOT does have a DL Hollowell Parkway website, and that's kind of the landing page for all the projects that are proposed along the corridor.
okay.
So that's always a good place to find information. I believe you can leave comments through that. And then obviously the city's website, where they update their projects too. So, that website's not going anywhere because it's not just related to this project. It's related to the DL Hollowell corridor completely. So it'll have, there's at least 2 or 3 other projects on there further to the west. And that's always a good place to check on project information, schedules, statuses, all those kind of things.
I have a question. Do we anticipate, because I know there's gonna be a project for I-285, I-20 West Exchange. that GDOT's doing?
The interchange?
The interchange?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, do we anticipate that having any impact on this at all, as far as like timeline or even like traffic flow? Do you think that's gonna make a difference?
This project will be done and open to construction years ahead of the interchange. I just happen to work on the interchange too. So, we just had the public hearing on the interchange in early December. And so we're still in the concept preliminary design phase of that. The department is getting ready to put out a request for consultant, request for contractor for that project. And so I think for the interchange, we're not, at the earliest, we're not expecting any construction activities on that to begin until like 2025.
Okay. Cause I just feel like if that was gonna be done soon with this, it might like help with traffic flow
Sure.
through Donnelly Hollowell,
Sure.
like if there's gonna be now an interchange, like.
Sure. So with the interchange, the future selected contractor will be responsible for a traffic control plan. So like if there's any detours proposed for the interchange construction, or if there's any other short-term disruptions, they'll be responsible for engaging with the community, coming up with plans and making notifications of that kind of stuff. But like I said, interchange earliest, you're talking 2025.
And as of now, there's no detours proposed in this area there's 4 detours, is it 3 or 4?
3.
3 detours that are proposed right now in the conceptual stage, as Jonathan mentioned, for the west interchange, and none of them come anywhere near this area.
Correct. If anybody were to be interested in more information on the interchange, GDOT, if you go to the GDOT's public involvement website, we still got our public hearing stuff up for that too, so. Yes, ma'am.
As you might be aware, there's a lack of retail in the area. Was that considered when you guys, came up with this? We need to have more retail, so would it be more inviting or less inviting to do this for retail, to invite retail to come?
I would say probably more, because you have the left-hand turn, so you're not having to say cross. You're sitting, right now with the 4 lanes, to make a left-hand turn, right turns really don't matter. So if I'm having to make a left turn now, I'm sitting in a live lane, having to cross 2 lanes. With the new configuration, I can get into a center turn lane and only have to cross 1 lane left into a retail now. I mean, I don't know if it's, from a traveling point of view, I would think that it's more inviting to be able to, make that left turn into a business with the new configuration versus what's out there right now.
It should at least provide opportunities to be more safe, in that you don't have somebody in the through lane, sitting, trying to make that left turn lane against traffic that's typically moving at a pretty good clip. And then you got people kind of rushing up behind them, and I mean, you guys see it. I mean, they travel this corridor quite often, kind of dodging in and out. So there should be better expectations for how to make some maneuvers.
And then also making a left out of a driveway, and there is a safe haven in that left turn. I mean, it's not really what it's there for, but basically everybody uses it, so you don't have to go. I came in the wrong driveway coming here, so I had to come out, make a left to come back this way, versus, so you have to cross 2 lanes, and then you have to get into a live lane, making the left. So with that center turn lane, you're only crossing 1 to get out, and it provides somewhat of a safe haven till, you can get into the, another lane over to get into that through lane.
Thank you.
I think there was a gentleman back here.
Has there been any master planning for not just from James Jackson to MARTA and then from MARTA to Northside Drive? Because, I mean, if you think about it, because Microsoft is coming to the area, if there is additional retail, like they say that there's additional whatever space that's used for the community, or if it's not for the community, it's for the public, they do something like an Atlantic Station type mixed-use development. Has there been thought to traffic coming off of Northside Drive, having to get to North, to where it then converts into a 1-lane street right at the development? And then what about the folks coming from Cobb County, of course, are gonna want to live out there and commute into Microsoft, into their campus, coming off after you get through the 1 lane to James Jackson, which is now 2 lane, turning back into one lane, will there be bottleneck traffic all the way down, by the highway, which would then back up onto the I'm just asking, has there been a thought process surrounding that entire, because there will be development, and it's not, it's not, I don't think it's been thought about.
So go ahead.
So yes, there has been. This project was birthed out of a study that was done to assess the entire corridor. So again, as, sorry, I'm about to call you JC again. As Jonathan stated, that this is the first, stroke of the brush in terms of the phases of the project and what the corridor will look like in terms of how we're doing improvements. This, typically a GDOT project from conceptual stage, from concept report to what we call the letting, takes about 4 to 5 years. We've done this in 12 months to essentially improve the safety of pedestrians and of vehicles traveling through the area. And so this is just a small part of what we're doing and looking at to do in the future. So we have taken that into consideration, but considering the safety implications of the improvements that are needed in the area, the department has decided to move forward with this first.
2 other projects that you'll see if you go to GDOT's website is, GDOT's currently evaluating the section of DL Hollowell, basically from just west of I-285. I can't remember how far it comes into, but that's a heavily commercialized area with a lot of trucks, so, and a lot of pedestrians there too. So they're doing what they call a scoping study there to kind of identify what the needs are and possible solutions. And then they also actively have the DL Hollowell and Fulton Industrial intersection evaluation, because that has some pretty heavy AM and PM peak traffic through there. So again, they're doing a scoping study there. As far as kind of pulling it all together, that's typically something like the Atlanta Regional Commission would do from a MPO standpoint. That is a partner that GDOT and the City of Atlanta work pretty closely with. But as far as our project, that's probably just the first point of it.
Has this been pushed out to the radios and television stations? Just because I know we're very underrepresented for our neighborhood, and I just want to make sure that people who watch TV and listen to the radio also know what's coming.
We did some early meetings with MPU. I'm not aware that we've done that kind of level yet.
No, we're not at that level, but we have, in terms of neighborhood associations, put it out. We have a newsletter, and then also the website has been pushed out through social media as well.
Just because a lot of our residents are legacy, so they may not be able to get here, they might not be on social media and stuff, so it might be helpful to push stuff out to the news station so that way people know what's coming in their area. I mean, I don't know if you guys do that, but just a thought.
Okay, that's something we can consider.
We have to do a time check. We have to be out by 8 o'clock and it's nearly 7. Does anyone have any other questions for GDOT?
I just want to get clarification. You said that it's a mix between median and the turn lane. Will there be any cases in which it's less than just the 2 lanes when the median and not the turn lane?
The only place you wouldn't have the turn lane is where the pedestrian refuge is, and those are smaller. They're smaller areas, so.
Out of the 3.9 one, was that what you said?
Yeah.
I would say 400 or 500 feet at best.
So how will emergency vehicles get past if there's traffic congestion and there's only?
Well, one of the things, like we mentioned, I mean, there's about 40 foot of space, maybe a little over 40 foot of space between the existing curb lines. And so we're only using 36, 37 foot of that. So there will be some space, but people will be able to crowd in, and they're able, so if they get to one of the pedestrian refuges, those are mountable and everything, so.
I mean, so you would hope that, if emergency vehicle, that everybody would at least get out of the center lane so that they could go down the center lane.
Right.
And then, that people would get over to the right as far as possible. And then, if you were in an area that does have the raised median, it is mountable so that they could, keep one lane in tire track and then just one lane go over them.
That's gonna be quite difficult though, with the narrow lane, if there were an emergency and you have officers coming down, or EMT coming down and you have,
It's not a narrow lane.
They'll have wider lanes
They'll
in
have
the
wider
future than they
lanes
do
than
now.
okay.
You'll just have one and then a little bit more extra shoulder kind of area between the travel lanes and the existing curb line. I mean, it's just a constrained corridor as far as right up, development right up to it, so you just don't have any extra space.
Any further questions for GDOT? We appreciate you all coming, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
No, you're guys welcome, and again, visit the website. If you have any other comments on anything else, please feel free to leave it there. If you have any questions, that kind of stuff, and thank you guys for having us.
Thank you so much, we appreciate you.